From the Frank Beck Chevrolet Studio Annex, this is Time Out Overtime on the YouTube channel. I'm your host, Rick Arsenal, and it's such a beautiful day on today. I've got a graduation I've got to go to. I'll do my best to quickly get you up to date on everything going on in the world of sports. But I'm going to end the show today, too, on a non-related sports subject. Pat Sajak, as you all know, probably know by now, on Wheel of Fortune yesterday was his last show. And I want to say something about that at the end of the program today. So let's get into this quickly, shall we? Okay, here we go. Time Out Overtime is sponsored in part by Frank Beck Chevrolet and M99 between Hillsdale and Jonesville. If it's time for a new-to-you vehicle, let the sales professionals at Beck's help you choose the right vehicle. New or pre-owned, Beck's has the top selection in the tri-state area with over 200 vehicles in stock. Stop by and see for yourself, and when you're ready, as for Russ McMorty, Chris Hodis, Danny Smith, Adam Schaefer, Blake Bryant, Cameron Mincio, or their newest sales professional, the one and only Mr. Bob Flynn. Yep, that Bob Flynn. And when it comes time to service that new-to-you vehicle, the service pros at Beck's can fix it. Any make, any model, Ford or domestic, Beck's can fix it. And if you have a bit of a crunch or fender bender, Beck's Body Shop can put it back together looking just as good as new. So for all your automotive needs, look no further than Frank Beck Chevrolet on N99 between Hillsdale and Jonesville at 517-849-2886 or on the web at frankbeckchevy.com. Come and experience the Frank Beck difference. Chevrolet, together, let's drive. I'm not going to spend much time on the Tigers. They had another stinker last night. They lost 10-0 again. They only had 2 hits. They were not competitive. Reese Olson had a bad game. That's all you need to know. He wasn't good. Gave up, 5 runs in the second inning. The game was over right there. They're not competitive. And the fact that they're even just a game under 500 at this point right now is nothing short of a miracle. That's all we're going to say about the Tigers. Apparently, Toledo, Spencer Torkelson is beginning to heat up at Toledo, as is Parker Meadows. The most consistent hitter at Toledo has probably been Jace Jung. He's got, he's batting 275, 280. He's got 9 home runs. He's approaching 40 RBI. He's had a good season down there. Are we done with the Tigers? I think so, yeah. The Lions finished their mandatory minicamp on Thursday. I'll quickly say that what Dan Campbell had to say Thursday, he tried to sum everything up. Probably the most disconcerting thing about what he had to say was DJ Reader will not be ready for training camp later next month. And right now, it's not even a sure thing that he'd be ready to go for the season opener on Sunday night, September the 8th. The Lions knew this going in. He's recovering from a quad injury last year that did not require surgery. Obviously, before they signed him, I'm sure the team doctors checked him out and they gave him a physical. We talked about it a little bit this morning with Andy. I think they're kind of letting him call the shots. Hey, when you just let us know when you think you're ready to go. Make a camera adjustment here. There we go. So to me, a little disconcerting, I think, at this point. I have no doubt. Once he's in there, he and Lee McNeil will be, talked about this before, probably the best defensive tackle tandem, at least in the NFC anyway. Bookies.com has come out with a list of the 25 most and least watchable games for the NFL in this coming season. And we'll have, I'll tell you where the Lions are on that list momentarily. But before we get into that, too, I'd like to, again, as I always do, put in a quick good word for good man Tim Lindley at Quality PC in downtown Hillsdale. just a little bit on Waldron Street, 37 Waldron Street, just a little west of Howell Street. All your technical needs. See Tim, computers, new or used. Maybe the computer you have now needs some work done on it. He'll take care of that. The flat screen TV, if you just bought one of those, you need it mounted, programmed. Tim can take care of that. You're changing internet providers. You need that installed. I certainly wasn't able to do mine. Tim had to do mine for me. Printers, new or used, whatever it is. Tim and his assistant, Zach, and more than capable of taking care of it for you. 37 Waldron Street, downtown Hillsdale, 517-610-5372, or better still, get in there and see the guys. Pardon me. And when you do, if you would please tell them Brick sent you. Thank you. Thought I could get by this without getting any water, but this isn't going to work. Pardon me for just a second. Don't forget, too, we mentioned this before, that the episode 1 of the 2024 edition of Inside the Den is out now. You can watch it on YouTube if you have the time. It's lengthy. It's an hour and 45 minutes. It chronicles all of last year from the opening night in Kansas City to the closing night in San Francisco. Highlights, of course, with Dan Miller. There's some interview with Mike Tirico. It's a must for every Lion fan. Inside the Den 2024 edition, episode 1. Episode 2, which covers the draft in the war room, I think will be out right around the time training camp opens up later next month. By the way, Turion Arnold has been looked very good. He is the odds-on favorite to win the Defensive Rookie of the Year award. He got a new nickname. Of course, he wears 0. His nickname now is Sub-Zero. I have some fun with that. Don't forget, too, we basketball and hockey. Game 2 of the NBA Finals comes tomorrow night, Sunday night in Boston. Thursday night was not much of a game, if you saw that. Dominated by the Celtics. As I said, they are attempting to win their 18th NBA championship. That would give them more than any other team. Find it interesting that the ratings for Thursday night, opening night for the NBA Finals, Game 1, TV ratings were the worst in 14 years, not since 2017. Again, we talked about that a little bit this morning with Andy. Maybe that's because there was such a long hiatus between the end of the conference finals and the NBA Finals. It was close to 10 days, wasn't it? 10 days. Maybe people forgot that they're even playing basketball right now. Also, I'd like to mention that Adam Silver, the NBA commissioner, has started to talk about expansion. Looks like the NBA is looking to expand. A couple of cities that have been mentioned are Las Vegas and Seattle. Of course, they were in Seattle. They were the Supersonics for many, many years before they left. Apparently, they have an interest in bringing a team back in there via expansion. As far as the Pistons go, we have heard nothing. It's been crickets from the Pistons. Again, we discussed that a little bit this morning. So if you heard the show this morning with Andy, we tried to bring you up to snuff on that. Bottom line is, all we know so far is Trajan Langdon is the new president of basketball operations. We have not had an official introductory press conference. All we know is that he released Troy Weaver from his duties as general manager. We haven't even been able to confirm the fact that Langdon has been given the keys to the car, or carte blanche, free to do whatever he wants as far as front office moves or player personnel or whatever. That hasn't been confirmed. We don't know that for a fact. Obviously, if they were to say goodbye to Monty Williams, Uh, Team owner Tom Gores would have to eat almost $60 million. I know that's hard for you or me to even fathom, but that's what kind of money this guy has. He's a multi-billionaire, folks. Uh, anyway, so that's it. I wish we had more news on the Pistons to give you, but it's in limbo right now. We just don't know with the draft quickly approaching at the end of this month. What do you want to do with that number 5 pick? You want to keep it, trade it? They've got 85 or $86 million in cap space money to play with. What do you do with that? Go out and sign a couple of free agents? I don't know, because we have it, and I'm sure if they ever do get around to having a press conference, these questions will all come up, obviously. So like I said, I wish I had more news on the Pistons to give you, but we don't right now. Bookies.com. Quickly, we'll transition into that. Bookies.com has come up with a list of the 25 most watchable and least watchable games for this coming NFL season. The formula that they came up with is they took all 272 regular season games and ranked every game based on its watchability using an algorithm that factors into NFL lines. Analytical, What the list that they've come up with, the Lions made 6 games on this list. First of all, the most watchable game of all this year is in week 7. That would be the Chiefs at the 49ers. That's understandable because it's a Super Bowl rematch. So that's not hard to think about how they came up with that. Second most watchable game on this list, Baltimore at Kansas City, opening night, Thursday night, September the 5th on NBC. As far as the Lions on this list, as I said, they made the list 6 games. They are ranked rankability. They came in at number 7. Seventh most watchable game, Rams at the Lions. Sunday night, September the 8th on NBC at 8:20. 8th most watchable game, the Lions at the 49ers, week 17, Monday night, December 30th. I think that's the last regular season Monday night game of the year. I think it is. Then they came in at number 13 on this list. Bills at Lions, week 15. That's a 4:25 game. Then again, the Lions came in at number 18. Their game, Sunday night game with the Texans. That would be week 10. Number 22, Lions at the Packers, week 9. That's a 4:25 game. Lions at Green Bay. And finally, number 24, Packers at Lions, week 14. That is a Thursday night Amazon Prime game. Went through that list in a bit of a hurry, but I wanted to let you know where they are on that list. If you're curious, by the way, the Lions did not make the list of the least watchable games. But if you're curious, number 1 on that list of least watchable games, take a guess. Yeah, you guessed it. That would be the Carolina Panthers at the Eagles, week 14. The least watchable game. Came across something too. If you're a Michigan fan, you're wondering how J.J. McCarthy is doing with the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings apparently are taking a patient approach with him. Kevin Seifert of ESPN reported McCarthy is squarely behind. There goes my phone. Least to say he is behind Sam Darnold in the pecking order. Here we go. We got it back. Let me read this to you here. Kevin Seifert of ESPN reported McCarthy is squarely behind Sam Darnold on the Vikings depth chart this offseason. Pardon me. Darnold has taken the majority of the first team reps, with McCarthy often coming in even behind Nick Mullins in the pecking order. behind Mullins, and he's the third string quarterback right now. This should come as no surprise as the Vikings signed Darnold this offseason to serve as a stopgap starter ahead of their quarterback in the future. Minnesota Tad McCarthy with that moniker after trading up to take him with the number 10 pick in the April draft, but there is no rush to thrust him into the first team reps. So it sounds like we will most likely, if you see McCarthy and the Vikings, he'll more than less be on the sidelines, probably with a headset and a clipboard in his hands. Right now, it looks like he's the third string quarterback behind Darnold and Nick Mullins. Does that surprise you? It doesn't surprise me. Although they did trade up to get him, took him 10th overall. As I said earlier, last night was Pat Sajak's last show after more than 4 decades on Wheel of Fortune. I was living in LA back in 1976 when he arrived on the scene out there at Channel 4, KNBC, which is the NBC affiliate in Los Angeles, doing the weather guy. But the sports fella that did the sports name was Stu Nahan. The news guy was John Schubeck. Schubeck, in fact, before he went to LA, he was on, did news here in Detroit on WWJ radio. Well, anyway, he was being a weatherman on TV in Los Angeles is not an easy job because the weather is pretty much whatever the weather is today was a carbon copy of the previous day. It's pretty boring. You know? So obviously, not only the weatherman, but you've got to be a bit of an entertainer. And Sajak was. You knew if you watched the weather that night. Hey, you had a choice. You could watch the weather on any channel out there. But you knew if you watched Pat, you'd get a good laugh or two out of that. And we did pretty much every night. So when he was offered the job of being the MC for Wheel of Fortune, Stu Nahan, the fella that did the sports with him, told the story of he tried to talk him out of it. That'll never last. Stay here with us. You have a more secure job. Go there. You won't be doing that very long. Luckily, he didn't take his advice. And Pat, I just want to say, if somehow you were able to watch this, congratulations on a marvelous career, keeping us entertained for more than 4 decades. There was a very poignant goodbye Vanna had to say Thursday night. I'm not a very emotional guy, but I think I even shed a tear or two watching her say goodbye to you. So, Pat, thanks. Thank you. Carly Simon once saying, nobody does it better. No truer words were ever spoken, Pat. Somebody even wrote once, parting is what such sweet sorrow. And in this case, it is. We're going to miss you. It won't be the same without you. Thank you, Pat, for keeping us entertained for more than 4 decades. Is that it? That's all we wanted to say. I think that's it. I've got a graduation to go to. So don't forget the Timeout Show every Saturday morning from 9 to 10 here locally on WCSR 92.1 FM. And I will be with you again on Tuesday. Go Comets. Good luck today at Adrian College against Waterville. Go get them, Comets.